Right now, I'm in Hawaii on a company trip for the travel agency I work for, which is also a preliminary survey for a new tour we're planning. When you think of Hawaii, you think of its clear, beautiful oceans and its unique culture, nightlife, and so on. However, if you venture out to the smaller islands in addition to the main island, it makes for a longer itinerary. The theme of this tour is to cater to tourists who can't spare a lot of time, letting them enjoy sightseeing and fun on the main island, while also experiencing the beautiful beaches of the smaller islands. From the mainland, it's a 90-minute drive across a submerged roadway. The beach we're targeting isn't frequently mentioned in travel guidebooks, but it's a hidden gem known only to those in the know, with its clear waters and sprawling white sand. Next to the beach is a paid parking lot. The nearby facility provides light meals, bathrooms, and showers, ensuring that our tourists won't feel inconvenienced.
What do you think? Nice place, isn't it?
Mr. Johnson, the division manager, asked us with a confident look. The idea for this tour was Mr. Johnson's proposal. He studied tourism at a prestigious university and, during his time there, acquired a comprehensive travel service manager certification. He's an elite who joined our planning division as if he owned the place.
Yay, it's great. Limited number of tourists and the fact that it's feasible as a day trip from the main island is a huge plus.
The CEO responded, nodding in satisfaction. At that moment, it felt like Mr. Johnson's further promotion was assured. On the other hand, I started working right after high school, and climbing the corporate ladder seems unlikely for me. I've spent years as a regular employee in the reservations department, working as a receptionist. Younger colleagues rented snorkeling gear to swim, lazily drifted in the sea on floaties, or played beach volleyball. The older employees lounged on the sand, enjoying beers while discussing work, golf, and their nights out at local bars.
Hey, David, aren't you going for a swim?
Ms. Davis, who also works in reception, asked me. She's the same age as me, but since she graduated from college, she's technically less experienced than I am. She's a beauty with a kind disposition and never looks down on me for just having a high school education. She always greets me with a smile and respects me. I often think how amazing it would be if she were my girlfriend, but I'm fully aware she's out of my league. I smiled and shook my head at her. I'll just wander around here for a bit. I'm good. It's not that I can't swim, but I didn't feel like swimming. I once got a sports scholarship for swimming to a private college, but I was injured during practice and had to be hospitalized. My physical therapy didn't go as planned, and I took a long break from the swim team, missing the nationals. Finding out that a teammate with worse records than mine won first place was something I still couldn't forget. Being on a scholarship was also mentally draining. I constantly questioned my place on the team and suffered from the after effects of my injury. Eventually, I couldn't even attend college and decided to drop out. When I consulted my parents, I was relieved when they said, "If you have decided, we will support you." I could have transferred schools, but I didn't want to burden my parents, so I decided to find a job. My career counselor helped me find a job, and I ended up working as a receptionist at a travel agency. Since I fully recovered from my injury and can't swim, but I don't really choose to anymore. As I walked along the beach, I saw a woman swimming, but something was off. She was struggling, dipping below and resurfacing, splashing water with her hands in an attempt to keep her head above. She's drowning, I thought, placing my phone in my pocket and stripping off my shirt as I ran towards the ocean. Diving in, I swam towards her. Reaching the panicking woman, I tell her, "Relax, I'm pulling you in." But she panicked, latching onto me, and we both went under, causing me to swallow a mouthful of seawater. "It's okay, calm down." She finally seems to get a hold of herself and allows me to take control. I grabbed her securely from behind and swam powerfully to the shore. I was glad I had obtained a lifesaver certification back in high school. Upon reaching the shore, the woman was on all fours, coughing hard. "Are you all right?" In response to my call, the woman looked up.
While I was swimming, I suddenly got a cramp in my leg. I panicked when I swallowed some seawater and thought I was going to die. Thank you for saving me.
She showed me the leg that cramped, but it seemed to be all right. She had swallowed quite a bit of seawater, but it probably wouldn't be life-threatening. Should I call an ambulance just to be safe?
No, I'm okay. I'm sorry for the trouble.
Hearing that, I suddenly remembered I was on a company outing. I picked up my smartphone and shirt to check the time and realized the meetup time was approaching. "I'm sorry, but I have to go if you're okay. Please take care of yourself." As I was about to leave quickly, the woman stopped me.
Wait, I want to thank you. Can I have your contact information?
"Please, don't worry about it. I'm late for my company outing." Hearing my explanation, the woman just thanked me and said,
I understand. At least tell me your name.
"It's David, excuse me." I gave her a quick nod and rushed to the parking lot.
Hey David, what were you doing? You're 5 minutes late.
The moment I got on the tour bus, I heard Mr. Johnson shouting, "I'm very sorry." Bowing my head in apology, Mr. Johnson glared at me. "This is why we can't trust people who only graduated high school. Apologize to everyone." I'm always belittled by Mr. Johnson for just being a high school graduate and looked down upon. He probably finds me an eyesore and a nuisance because he values higher education. I went around and apologized to everyone in the company. "I'm sorry for being late." When I got to Ms. Davis' seat, she looked up.
Why were you late?
When I told her I was late because I rescued a drowning woman on the beach, Ms. Davis raised her voice.
What? If you were late because you saved someone, you shouldn't be blamed. Why didn't you tell us?
"Well, being late is still being late." Before I could finish, Ms. Davis told my story loudly to all the employees. Suddenly, comments like, "Is that true? You should have told us. Saving a life is amazing," rose from around me, and I instantly went from being a troublemaker to a hero. Mr. Johnson watched with a displeased face. A few days later, while I was at the reception desk, a woman holding a number ticket waved to me, "Thank you so much for the other day." Thinking she was a customer I'd helped before, she added, "I'm the one you saved from drowning in the waters of Hawaii." I was taken aback, as she looked different with makeup, neatly styled hair, and dressed well. "I only mentioned my name. How did you know I work here?" I was genuinely surprised, having thought our encounter was just a one-time event.
When I heard you were there on a company trip, I asked the local store clerk which company had been there.
I recalled Mr. Johnson mentioning talking to the store clerk about organizing the tour.
My name is Rebecca Smith from Inspired Travels. Actually, I was also there that day for a scouting trip for a new tour package.
She handed me her business card. Inspired Travels is a rival of our Elite Travels. They always have higher customer ratings, more repeat customers, and major corporate clients. Ms. Smith brought a box of sweets, which I initially declined but accepted due to her insistence. Since it was too much for just me, I decided to share it with my colleagues. "Here, enjoy these, everyone."
Oh, thank you. Is this from a customer?
When I give it to Ms. Davis, she asks. I explained to Ms. Davis that it was from the woman I'd saved in Hawaii. Her name is Rebecca Smith, and she works at Inspired Travels. Apparently, she was there that day for a scouting trip too. After explaining, Mr. Johnson called me into another room.
Rebecca Smith from Inspired Travels, the CEO's daughter? Helping the daughter of a rival company, what the heck were you thinking?
I was dumbfounded. Wait a minute. Just because she's the daughter of a rival company's CEO doesn't mean I could just let her drown at the beach.
That's why you'll never get ahead. It's a competitive world out here. If you hadn't saved that girl, their tour would have been canceled, and our company would have had an exclusive one.
I was terrified to realize the extent to which Mr. Johnson wanted to bring down the rival company. Mr. Johnson told me he'd recommend to the CEO that I be transferred. When I told my colleagues about it, Ms. Davis reassured me, "Don't worry, David, you saved someone's life. There's no way they'd transfer you just because she's the daughter of a rival company's CEO. Our CEO will understand." Despite his encouragement, the reality was harsh. 3 days later, I received a notice of my transfer to the countryside in 2 weeks. The CEO, like Mr. Johnson, probably didn't want me to save Rebecca Smith. After that, I was swamped with calling and emailing our valued customers to report my transfer and express my gratitude.
I'm so sorry I couldn't be of more help.
Seeing a sadder look on Ms. Davis's face than mine, I smiled and reassured her. It's okay, I'll manage somehow. But the thought of working in a place where I knew no one was daunting. At that moment, a colleague at the counter called me over.
There's someone here to see you, David.
Perhaps a customer came in person to express their gratitude after receiving my email or call. When I approached, an elderly man I didn't recognize was standing there. His aura was intense. I'm David. How can I assist you?" To my surprise, he gave me a warm look and said,
"Thank you for saving my granddaughter, Rebecca."
Upon hearing granddaughter, I realized he was the founder and chairman of Inspired Travels. I was taken aback by his sudden visit.
"I heard about the unjust treatment you're receiving due to saving Rebecca. I'm glad I made it in time."
Before I could ask how he knew, Mr. Smith said, "Let's go." He took me to the CEO's office, a place I'd never been. Mr. Smith knocked and entered. Upon entering, the CEO looked shocked to see Mr. Smith.
What do you think you're doing barging in here?
The CEO yelled.
"You're the one in the wrong, punishing David for saving a drowning girl. I've been patient out of respect for the previous CEO, but I've had enough."
I later learned that Mr. Smith and the former CEO of Elite Travels were college buddies. Though they went to different colleges, they ended up working at the same travel agency by some twist of fate. They learned and honed their skills in the travel industry, got certified, and worked hard. However, due to an economic downturn, that travel agency went bankrupt. Both of them decided to go independent and set up their own travel agencies. They grew into major competitors, but remained close friends. Around that time, the former president was diagnosed with stomach cancer and decided to step down from his position. He passed on his role to the vice president at the time. At first, the president adhered to the management policies of the former president. However, over time, he began prioritizing profit. Furthermore, he viewed the Inspired Travels as a rival and used various tactics to steal customers. But Mr. Smith didn't make it public because of his connection with the former president.
"If you don't get your act together, I'll call an emergency shareholders meeting,"
Mr. Smith threatened. The CEO, sounding defensive, retorted, "You're not even a shareholder." Mr. Smith smirked.
Do you know who the largest shareholder in your company is?
The CEO's face turned pale.
That's right.
Subsequently, the major shareholder, the former CEO, convened an emergency shareholders meeting, and the CEO was voted out. The former CEO sold all his shares to Mr. Smith, resulting in Elite Travels being acquired by Inspired Travels. Although acquired, the staff continued working as before, but with improved working conditions and better benefits. My transfer was canceled, but in a twist, Mr. Johnson was the one who got transferred. Mr. Johnson, the department head, was not only known for bullying his subordinates but also for bribing hotel staff to divert rooms that the Inspired Travels secured. He also tried to tarnish their reputation by posting bad reviews online. Because of this, he was demoted to a regular employee. Some time passed. One day, I invited Ms. Davis out for dinner. I heard it from Mr. Smith. It was you, Ms. Davis, who told the chairman's grand auditor about my impending transfer, wasn't it? Ms. Davis nodded.
I just couldn't accept the fact that you were being transferred. I reached out to Miss Smith in desperation. I never dreamt that the chairman would step in and buy our company.
I extended deep gratitude to Ms. Davis. Thank you so much. If it weren't for you, I'd have been transferred by now.
I just really didn't want you to leave.
She replied, her cheeks turning a shade of pink. Our eyes met, and we both shared an awkward smile. Mr. Smith seemed to have wanted me to date Rebecca. He was disappointed to hear I already had a girlfriend, but was quickly admonished by her, of course he has a girlfriend. Look how wonderful he is. This left me chuckling. I might have missed out on a chance to marry Rebecca, but I have no regrets about choosing Ms. Davis. When I received the transfer notice, it felt like my world had gone dark, but that wasn't the case. Ms. Davis, who reached out to Rebecca about my transfer, Rebecca, who felt indebted to me and shared the matter with her grandfather, and the chairman who decided to acquire the company. With their help, I am where I am today.